Hello, my name is John Tom, and today I'm going to explain some basics to you, the fearless violin student, about the violin. So first we have the violin, okay? Second we have the bow. This is the bow tip, and then this is the frog. Now, I don't know where they came up with the name frog, but I think the most popular rumor is that a violin maker put like a frog or something German. You know, the Germans and the Swiss and the like Italians were really good at making stringed instruments back then, like the best. And so, I don't know why I made a French accent. I don't think French for that. Well, Europe is really known for classical music. And so, anyway, the frog was named after something he put on his table when he was making violin. So this is the frog. I digress. Alright, so this is the bow hair. Z, plural. And it's usually made out of horse hair, like the tail of a horse, which is an interesting fact. And in order for the violin to make sound, you need to put what's called resin, which comes from trees and whatnot. And there are many different kinds of resin blends with some honey in it or some more dense versions of it. The one I use is made in Germany called Pirastro, and it's actually quite good. So you tighten the bow by spinning or turning this peg at the end of the bow by the frog, okay, clockwise. So loosening it is done by turning it counterclockwise, and then tightening it can be done by turning it clockwise. And once it's a little tight, you don't want it too tight, you still want to see a bow in the bow. And yeah, so if it's like this, I don't want to break it, but if it's like completely straight, that's too tight. That's not good, because you want a little bit of bendy movement when you're playing. And then you rub the resin by the frog. This is how I like to do it, because this is the hardest to get. And then you steadily go down the bow all the way to the tip, like that. And then when you first get a bow, there's typically no resin on the bow hairs whatsoever, so you need to do this for about a good 20 minutes. But I've been playing for a while, and there's resin already on here, so I'm not going to do it too much. But that's what makes the sound, really. Without resin, it's just like, there's nothing. So you need the resin. Many different parts to this beast. So the violin. This is the violin neck, where masterful violin players like Hilary Hahn and Joshua Bell and Maxim Bengarov and like the greats like Joshua Heifetz all play here. And then they go down the fingerboard once you get really advanced. And so, as I said, this is the fingerboard, and then these are the tuning pegs, okay, and these are the F-holes, this is the bridge, and then you'll see some violins with 4 pegs down here. These are like the micro tuners. They tune it even more precisely. These are the foundational tuners, I don't know, but they give the violin like the basic notation of that for that string, and then these fine tune it a little bit more. So, for the most part, most advanced or intermediate to advanced level players will only have one on the E string, because that is a string that is the most finicky to get just right, and so that's what most people have the fine-tuning peg for on the E string. And then this is the chin rest. My chin rest has this little pad because I literally have a lot of weird scab stories from the bottom of my neck here. You can always tell a violinist walking down the street when they turn their head to the right, and there's this big old thing here. Mine has since become skin color, so you don't really see it. And then this is the shoulder rest. Now, some people don't play with the shoulder rest. I don't know what they're on or how they do it. I need a shoulder rest, and the shoulder rest I use is Wolf. It's really old. Like, this is even sunburnt. It's kind of nasty. I need to get another one, but that's the one I use. There's all kinds of shoulder rests. If you go to your neighborhood music store or the violin section, they will have shoulder rests. Yeah. A good online store, too, for music in general, especially stringed instruments, is Shar. S-H-A-R. Shar Music. Look them up, Google them. They have everything. Everything. And some decently priced basic violin instruments too, or viola, cello, whatever you're playing. Alright, so how the violin makes noise is once you move the bow across the violin, like that, the string vibrates, and the vibration moves through the plate and the front and back of this wooden chamber and resonates through the F-holes and creates that magical sound that I fell in love with when I went to my first violin concert in Bangkok, where I was born and moved all over the world. And her name was like Karen Sophie something from Germany, and she was playing a solo, playing Mozart, playing Bruch, and it was like learning how to imagine for the first time. I was kind of rendered speechless and immobile for an hour and a half because I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. You know, a little kid hearing classical music for the first time. It's like, it's truly magical and out of this world, and kind of because of her, I picked up the violin. I didn't start at 6. I took it seriously at the age of 12 here when I moved to, I don't live in Seattle now, but when I moved to the States, I lived in Seattle for the most part of my life, and that's where I took it seriously and learned from Russians and, you know, strict people that don't let you out of the room until you do something right and tell you to practice 4 hours a day. It takes a lot of work. Believe me, this takes a lot of work. It's like I'm learning how to, I try to learn something new every year, and right now I'm learning how to surf. And I like nearly broke my neck because I kept going towards the rocks. And yeah, I'm really terrible at it. So whatever it is you're learning, be patient. It takes a long time to get something and master it and then get it ingrained in your brain through long-term potentiation and building those neurons and getting it fastened in there. It takes a long time. And you just have to stick with it because music literally saved my life. Einstein played the violin. A lot of people who are prominent play musical instruments because it's a good way to escape struggles or escape mental or physical or emotional kind of upset. You know, grass is always greener. I'm not saying my life is a disaster. It's not. But it's a really good way to escape and to learn while escaping, and you're learning something really complex as well. There's musical theory that feeds into notation and reading music. All of that kind of assimilates to one essential thing, which is how to play a musical instrument. But yeah, keep at it. You're here probably because you want to know how to play the violin, and I'm going to go all the way through. This is my first video, so thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll help you conquer this in the best way I know how. Alright, so the first rule of thumb is to know how to hold the violin, okay? And hold the bow. In order to hold the bow correctly, you want to put your the tip of your thumb underneath the frog, not under like that, but in between the little U, right there, and then put your index finger over the rubber part where the horsehair starts. Okay? Around right there, and the middle finger kind of behind the thumb, index finger kind of touching the frog, and then the pinky over the end, like that. And you want to be able to kind of do this wave in the air, okay? And the first time I tried this, I can't really remember because it was a long time ago, but it wasn't too difficult, you know. I was just a little punk kid. I was like, oh, okay. But I know some people have difficulty and they fumble. But please learn this correctly. You never want to learn the violin like this. I saw someone on YouTube playing the violin like this, and I almost vomited. It's like, what? You don't play the violin with the thumb down here. You want to keep it in between the horsehair section and the wood section, okay? And then you want to be able to maneuver it with your pinky. Slight pressure from your pinky tip, up and down, up and down, up and down, like that is how you move the bow. Alright? So practice that for a while. I'm going to go through several basics today, so I have to keep going, but practice that for a while until you can do, say, 10 to 30 without dropping the bow. And then once you can do 10 to 30 without dropping the bow, you're good. I mean, you're not perfect, but you're good for the time being. Do that every day. Alright, now holding the violin. This is the tricky part. Once you get your shoulder rest, please get a shoulder rest. If you don't get a shoulder rest, it's going to make your life miserable. You're going to like, nope, cling. And you're not going to want to learn the violin anymore. Get the shoulder rest. It's key, actually. And you don't need padding here, but it's more comfortable. Just get a little cloth. If you don't have this, put the cloth over here so you're protecting yourself, because you're just learning. You don't want to be uncomfortable when you're just learning. Alright, so place the chin rest underneath your chin, but first place the shoulder rest on your shoulder like this. I hope you can see. Alright, so the left shoulder rest is on the tip of your shoulder blade, and then the right part of the shoulder rest is kind of in between your shoulder blade and your, what is that, your sternum, okay? Like in the middle of your pec. And if you're a girl, in the middle of your pec. Like that. And then once you get that situated appropriately, shift it up to where the bottom of the violin nudges your neck, okay? Move your neck over, and then place it down. You don't want to place it to where your nose is pointed straight down the violin's fingerboard. That's not correct. Some fiddlers play like this, and that's good for them, alright? But it's not conducive to learning multiple modalities and multiple styles of violin playing. So I would strongly suggest shifting the violin over here to where the shoulder rest is over your shoulder, hence shoulder rest, and then you place this part of your jaw over the chin rest. Now, I have a really prominent jawline, which has sometimes given me problems with this instrument, but I just, you know, whether your fingers are too long, which I've been told, or your jawline is weird, if you like something enough, you're going to make it work. And I've practiced a lot in high school, and to the chagrin of some competing students, teachers, who thought, oh, his fingers are long, I beat everybody. So, haha, if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it work. So, forget what people tell you. You know, you can learn the violin, you can learn flute, you can learn anything as long as you kind of malleably formulate techniques around the instrument and perfect it over time. So, once you get the shoulder rest down, Put the chin down. Try to let go of the violin. So obviously, you're not going to let go of the violin while your chin's up here because there's no force holding the violin down and it's just going to fall and break and you're probably going to need to get a new violin. Put the chin over the chin rest to where it squeezes the violin in between your shoulder and your chin, and then let go. Again. Shoulder, chin, let go. Again. Shoulder, chin, let go. Do that about a million times. Just kidding. I mean, you can if you want, but I'd say 10 times is good enough for today. And once you get that down, you get the basics of how to hold the violin without your fingers. Now obviously, without your fingers, you're not going to be able to play the violin, so this isn't the whole battle yet. We've got a long ways to go. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, you conquered this, but that's like tip of the iceberg. However, good job. Now, remember what we talked about with holding the bow? Pick the bow up, put your hand over, or under, excuse me, the fingerboard, or the neck of the violin. And how you do that is you want to place the, not a palm reader, like a physiology professor, so I don't know what this part of your hand's called, but the U shape between your index finger and your thumb is where the fingerboard should be placed. So you want to go like that and put the fingerboard right in that U or V, but not, you know, not like this, just ever so slightly underneath the neck. Once you get that down, you want to move your palm down just a smidge to where it's almost touching this part of the violin. So put your hand underneath the neck and then your palm underneath the violin to where it's touching that part, okay? And then once you have that, you don't want to keep your thumb up here. This isn't guitar. Now guitarists have their thumb up here sometimes to silent the E string on a 6-string guitar. But for the violin, you want to place your thumb to where the padding of the thumb is right on the side of the neck. And then once you get that, you want the padding of the base of your index finger to be on the other side. Okay? And then you'll be able to finger the first position notes on all the strings of the violin. So, the strings on the violin, very important. Every instrument has a different fifth added to it, above or below, depending on what stringed instrument you're playing. Piano obviously has all, but for a violin, the lowest string is G. I'll get to how you stroke the bow across the string in a sec. The second string is D. I'm doing this so you get the sounds of the different stringed instruments as I'm naming them. The third string, so I'm going first, second, third, fourth, based on lowest to highest, okay? So when you're looking down the fingerboard of the violin, the lowest string is going to be on your left side, your left, okay? G is the lowest string, D is the second lowest string, and then A is the third lowest string, and then the highest string is E. It's a little flat. Alright, and they're all separated by a fifth. They're all fifths apart. What I mean by that is, if you're not familiar with musical theory at all, there are 7 notes in music. It's not like the alphabet where there are 26. I should say the English alphabet where there are 26 letters. Each note is represented by a letter. So to start at the very basics, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. okay? And there's no H, I, J or something. It's just, that's how it is. And the lowest note name on the violin is G. Can't go any lower than G. That's the lowest. And then the open string names are G, D, A, E, and they're all separated by a fifth. And what I mean by a fifth is that it takes 5 letters to get from one note to the other note. So G, A, B, C, D, including the note that represents the string I'm referring to, G, A, B, C, D. So since G is the furthest you go down the alphabet in music, you go right back to A, and that loops around like that. So G, A, B, C, D. D, what's after D? E, F, G, A. Fifth, A, and then A, B, C, D, E. Okay? So, I'll teach you one more thing. I don't want to overwhelm you in one video. But I think this is okay. And it's not just pause it. Like, my brain's fried. Just pause it. But you've got the chin rest down. You've got the technique on how to hold the violin. You have the technique on how to put your hand under the neck of the violin. I'm not going to put any fingers down yet. I'm just going to do open strings. So, how you stroke across the strings. This is important. You don't want to stroke here or here. There's actually a song, it's kind of a violin song, but some of the first violinists and second violinists in the orchestra play up here for part of it. But don't worry about that. You don't want to do that. You want to focus on the section in between the end of the fingerboard and the beginning, and the bridge. Where does the bridge end? Where does it begin? I don't know. The violin bridge is right there. So, just the bridge. And that's the section you want to use when you're playing across your strings. So I'm going to go slowly from frog to tip, frog to tip. By the way, frog to tip is called down bow. Tip to frog is called up bow. So, place a little bit of pressure, don't push too hard. Just kind of relax your hand over the string. Okay? Make sure all of your technique for your right hand is correct so your bow doesn't go flying. And then pull slightly. Okay? Did you follow? Hopefully you were able to do that. Again. Congratulations, you played your first note on the violin. Hopefully. If not, keep trying. And then D string. Notice I'm keeping my bow in between the bridge and the end of the fingerboard. A string. And then E string. Okay. I think that's enough for today. Thanks so much for watching. And congratulations on deciding to play the violin. It's, in my opinion, one of the harder instruments, but no disrespect to any other instrument out there. They're all very difficult and they're all truly fantastic. I just decided to choose this. And it's a fabulous vehicle for conveying emotion, for conveying like sadness in the minor key, or like joy and elation in a major key, and you're going to get all of those as you continue to progress throughout your violin journey. But there you have it. My name's John Tom. If you like this video, help me out. This is literally my first instructional video, so I'm kind of excited and learning at the same time on how to do this YouTube business. So like, give a thumbs up. That's what they say, right? Thumbs up and subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you again for lesson number 2. Have a good one. Stay awake to the world around you, and